Hey everyone, it's Corey and welcome to After Hours. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at doing some free motion quilting but on our domestic machine. We do a lot on the long arm, but I'm starting to see comments come in on our videos that you would like to see these amazing techniques that we're doing on the long arm but kind of transpose them onto the home sewing machine. So I decided let's put together a program to go through that with you, and then we'll start bringing more and more of those videos to you. We're going to be taking a look at the But Wait, More Really Fancy Feathers book tonight. We looked at it a few weeks ago on the long arm and it got great response on those different techniques and different elements in this book that you could pull together into that one feather. So I thought, why not start first with this new series on our home sewing machine. This is going to be so much fun. There are so many different tools and techniques that you can use on your machine, and we've got them here at Linda's to make your quilting journey even more fun. Before we get started, please make sure you are subscribed to our channel. It's going to be right down at that bottom right-hand corner. After you click on that subscribe button, make sure you click on the little bell that shows up so you can get notified whenever we post anything new here at the studio at Linda's. So let's go overhead and take a look at this book. Again, this is the But Wait, More Really Fancy Feathers. Tonight, we're going to be on page 22 of this book. Now, there are so many different designs in this book, and we love it so much because of that. We're going to start looking at the elements on the left-hand side in this feather, and then on the right-hand side, just like we did a few weeks ago on the long arm, we kind of pulled different elements from different pages to fill in that right-hand side. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to start off by drawing this out on our paper to build that muscle memory, and then we are going to head over to our machine and do some free motion quilting on our home sewing machine. So let's pull over our paper, and we are going to start building how we are going to draw this feather. I really, really recommend drawing out your designs before you do anything else. That way you have a full understanding of kind of what you're looking for. You've got a blueprint ready whenever you get to your machine. So let's start off with our feather. So we're going to come here on the left and try to build out those feather plumes. Just like that. We're going to come down with our stem. And then we're going to go off to the right. Now on the right, we're going to do 3 feathers. And then at the top, put in that little half teardrop one, just like that. So if we're looking at our book, page 22, we're going to start with these pieces right here. So we're doing that feather within a feather. So it's got about 3 feathers and then a curlicue. You can add more if you please. You don't have to go exactly with what's in the book. That book is just an idea folder for you. And this is where we did our start and our stop so far. So now let's start bringing in those feather plumes. So we're already right here. So we're going to give it 1, 2, and kind of wrapping around for the third one, 3. If you want to put in that curlicue, you can, or if you'd rather skip it and move on to the rest of it, feel free, but we're going to put on that curlicue into this one, just like that, and then continue up. So we'll continue up our stem. We've got 1, 2, 3. Come in with our curlicue, down, and then 1, 2, 3, curlicue, and down. So we filled in that section. We're going to travel back down our stem. And then for this one, I want to use an arch template like we did a few weeks ago on our machine. This is going to give us these beautiful arches, and then we're going to fill them in with some figure 8s. So we're still right here. We're going to travel up that plume just a little bit. And then with our machine, we would arch over, travel up a little bit more, and this is all random, kind of whatever size you want it to be, and then arch back over, just like that. We'll travel up a little bit more, arch, travel up, and arch, just like that. In these arch sections that we built, we're going to do some fun figure 8s. So we are right here at this point. So we're going to come in and do those figure 8s. So we're going to drop down a little bit and then go into that figure 8 motion. Just like this. So fun and so beautiful. Just like that. We're going to travel down our stem once more. We're going to leave this area blank and then still drop into that figure 8 motion. Trying to stay continuous as you can, as continuous as you can. It's going to help accomplish your project faster as you're working, kind of finding the path of least resistance as you're going. Oh, that looks like a cute little Easter egg. So you've got those 2 spots right there. You're going to drop back down the plume of the feather, and then you're going to travel up your stem, and then we're going to do the same thing here. So we had those 2 sections right here. Let's do one big one into here to kind of create a pattern. So we'll travel up the feather, come in with our arch there, travel up, try to line up that arch as much as we can, and down, just like that. We'll come into here, and then these are going to be our figure 8s. Just like that. Come into there, and then we can travel up a little bit more. Let's do another arch. We're going to do some ribbon candy in the next one. So we're going to come up to here, throw in your arch, over, throw in your arch once more, and then to do our ribbon candy, this is just going to be that kind of back and forth, more of a rib technique. Just like that. And then last but not least, let's finish it out with that fun peacock echoing that we can do in that top feather plume. So we're going to come in, and then with our machine, we're going to start with a tight teardrop, and then you're just going to echo back and forth over that to build that beautiful echo piece. And we'll finish back down the stem right here. So as you can see, our start and our stop is in the same spot right here. Oh, that looks so much fun. You can totally change this up if you wanted to. If you wanted to do more of the figure 8s, you can. If you wanted to leave one blank, you can. That's the beauty of these books that we have here. You can bring all those different design elements into one. So now that we have this drawn out, let's look at how we need to prepare our fabric to be as successful as we can on our home sewing machine. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my fabric. Now I've got a wool pressing mat here, but you can do this on your ironing board as well. I've got a tiny little sample for today's video, but you can do this next technique over your whole entire quilt if you would like as well. So we're going to first start by preparing our fabric to use on our sewing machine. So I've got my top fabric right here with the pretty side up. In between I've got a batting, which we're going to talk about in just a second. And then right underneath I've got my backing fabric with the pretty side facing down. Now this batting is very special. This is a Hobbs 80/20 fusible batting, and it is a double-sided fusible. So what's really great about this is it is heat activated, so once we lay on our fabric, smooth everything out, I can take a nice hot dry iron and press down on this, and I'm going to press it for about 7 to 10 seconds. And what that is going to do is activate the fusing medium that's on the batting. That's going to lock it temporarily to the quilt top and quilt backing so we can use it freely on our sewing machine. Really good about this batting, no shrinkage when you are using it because that fusing is holding it together. Once you wash the quilt, the fusing medium is water soluble, so it's basically just going to disappear out of it when it's washed, and it's going to feel just like the beautiful Hobbs 80/20 naturally does. So we're just going to press this around, and as you can see, it takes a little bit of time, but it is completely worth not having to do any spray basting or pinning or anything of that nature. All you're doing is just taking that nice hot iron, pressing it around. Remember, a dry iron, no steam, because if you add any steam into that, that water from the steam will turn that fusing medium basically off in this batting. Give it a nice press all the way around. Now, just for extra security, what we can do is take our sample or our whole quilt, flip it over, and then press quickly on the back as well. What's really great about this is even though it is a fusing medium, it is not, like I said, a permanent fix or a permanent lock, excuse me. So if you need to pull this up and shift it a little bit, you can flatten that back down and then take that nice iron and press right on that. Now that we have that pressed, we can set it off our ironing board or off our mat. We're gonna let this cool because we do wanna draw on our design to be prepared. We've already pre-drawn it here together to build that muscle memory, but we wanna go ahead and draw it on our fabric as well. And we're gonna use that ultimate marking pencil to draw on the fabric. But if you start drawing immediately after you press, the heat from that iron is still there, and it's gonna end up making your pretty pencil basically disappear. So let that cool down. That's also gonna solidify that fusing medium so it's not going anywhere, and it's gonna hold that piece together over this tiny square, or if you're doing this on a larger quilt. So we've got our drawing here. I'm gonna put that in front of me. We're gonna start with our starting point. We're gonna draw out our feathers. 1, 2, 3. Remember on the third one we came back down. And then on the right side we've got 1, 2, 3, and then we did that teardrop up top and came down. Now for our feather design, we're gonna put feathers inside of feathers with a curl. So we are still right here. So we're gonna come in with a 1, 2, 3, and then give ourselves a little curly cue and curl out and down. 1, 2, 3, and down. 1, 2, 3, and down. Just like that. Super duper pretty. We're gonna work our way down here. And then on these right-hand sides, these were kind of our free ones that we were gonna play with templates. So we are still going to do that for sure. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna come up a little bit. You would use your template on the machine, arch over, arch back, and then we're gonna fill it in with those figure eights around, just like that. So we're gonna do that, kind of free eye that as we go. We might play with a couple of other ideas, and then up here at the top, like we looked at, these are just gonna be that back and forth arch to kind of fill that section up just like that. So we're gonna take this over to our sewing machine, and I wanna show you a few different tools that we use there to make it easier for you to do free motion quilting. Now that we're over here at the machine, I want to show you a few tips and tools that I use to help with my overall quilting process on my sewing machine. First thing that I love is my Sew Slip mat. This has a little bit of a tacky film on one side and a nice smooth section on the other. It's going to help you move the fabric really nice. It comes with a little bit of a smaller hole already in the mat. I cut out a larger section for using my feed dogs as well when I do quilt as you go, doing the PQW method with the KISS method. So you can cut out a larger hole, but it does come with just that standard smaller one so you can drop your feed dogs. I'm also going to use these gloves. These are called machingers. It's a really cute name. They have a grip on each of the finger, and that helps you just easily glide around your fabric instead of having to grip it with your hands, and sometimes it slips. There are multiple different sizes. I've got the extra large size on, so you just kind of, there are measurements, I believe, in the description. I also have a ruler foot on my sewing machine. This is just a standard ruler foot that came with mine. That's just going to give me the ability to use those 1/4 inch thick templates on the machine without a problem. Dropped the feed dogs for what we're going to do today. And then I'm also having my hook and snip that is available for me to get underneath the foot to pull up the thread easier. All of these tools except the foot are available on our website, lindas.com. So I'm bringing over the piece that I want to work with here. You can see that just slides around easily, holding with those machingers gloves and that Sew Slip mat. Makes it really, really nice to do what I need to do on this. So I'm going to take my machine to the starting point where we drew, drop my foot and pull up my thread. I've got my hook and snip, so I can just slide right underneath that foot, grab what I need to pull up my top thread. Now this is a big thing because you have that set, it comes with a thing of tweezers. You can also get underneath there and grab that bobbin thread if you don't have enough of it easily. This is just going to help get the thread started. That way you don't have a bird's nest on the back. So having both of those tools is really, really nice. We're going to do a few tie-offs to get going. This is just going to, again, lock down our thread and not have a bird's nest on the back. Perfect. Now that we've got that, we're going to start our pedal and start moving this around. You really want to focus on figuring out what speed works best for you on your machine, and then set that speed. That way you can press all the way down on your pedal and not have to worry about kind of going back and forth with it. So find a sample piece and find your speed. And then we just get to start moving this bad boy around. Now remember, you don't have to follow directly on your line. That line that you drew is just a visual. If at any time you get uncomfortable, you stop, you reposition your hands, and then you start moving again. It's a great thing about our machines. We can stop and start however we want to. We're going to come down the stem. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable in my shoulders, so then I'm just doing a little bit of repositioning, and then I can start back up again. And then having these Machinger's gloves are so, so nice. Just helps me barely hold on to the fabric, which I love. So we've got those first initial 3 feathers. Now we're going to do those ones inside. So we have our 1, our 2, and our 3. Curly Q, in and out. Just like that. Super cute. The biggest advice I can give you when you are doing these free motion feathers or free motion anything on your home sewing machine is definitely just take your time with it and don't apply any unnecessary pressure. That's why you've got your little Machinger's gloves and the Sew Slip mat. You're easily gliding this around and not pushing heavily and forcing the fabric to move with you. You just want it to glide. All right, we're coming back down the stem, repositioning if needed. Okay. And then we'll do our other ones. Another great thing about you doing things on your home sewing machine is you can spin your project if it's smaller, if that's easier for you. So you can always kind of see what's coming next, or you can have it behind you, completely up to you. This gives you just another visual. Down our stem, and then we're going to travel over and use our template. So we're going to travel over here. I'm going to grab my 6-inch arch template, and then I've got grip dots on the back of this to help keep it nice and steady. And apply that on. Now, one thing to note, if you are using a template like this and it extends past your project, like this one is extending past onto my Sew Slip mat, you want to remember not to apply pressure off your project, because then that template's not going to move the way you want it to. Apply the pressure on the dots that are on your project, even if this one is floating freely. You're going to put that template right up next to your ruler foot. Make sure you're applying the proper pressure, and then just push your project right along your template. And then you can remove your template when you're done. We're going to travel up this a little bit. And then we can do the same thing. Put our template back. Make sure we're applying proper pressure where it needs to be. And this one you can just easily move your project just like that. All right, so now that we've done that, we're going to do our little figure eights in here. And this is just going to be back and forth. This is a great design if you're trying to put something into a sashing, into a small section, into a border. You've got that really cute, fun design to fill in there. Travel down our feather. And then we're going to go to the next one. Gonna do the same thing, just kind of at a different spot with our template. This one we're just gonna actually do a bunch of random back and forth curves. That'll actually be fun. So we're gonna come over here. Right there works. I'll put our template on. Now this one, all of the grip dots are on our project, so we don't have to worry about not pressing somewhere. And what's really cool about this is if I just hold this template and rotate the fabric with it, those grip dots hold that nice and steady. So I can move down if I would like. Grab that template again, hold that nice and steady, and move the template, which in turn moves the fabric at the same time. Come down, put the template on, hold the template, and rotate over. This is a great way to get those perfect curves. We love templates when we're quilting on our long arm machines, but it's also really, really great and fun to quilt on your home sewing machine with them as well. You just need to make sure you got that nice ruler foot on, and you can create these really fun designs. Now this is just a traditional arch. There are so many different ones that are available. But just like that, I put on those really fun kind of stripes in this. We're going to travel down our feather, back up our stem. So in this one, again, changing how we originally drew it out, I think I just want to do some fun meandering in this just to give you a bunch of different options that you can use. One thing to note as well, if you don't like all the over stitching lines, you definitely do not have to travel down. You can tie off your thread, trim, and go to the next piece. This is just a fun way to keep it continuous. You could also do that one feather and then backtrack and do these and then travel back so there's only one line of stitching. Whatever's easier for you. That's the best thing about quilting. There's so many different ways to do it. So in this one, we're just going to do some fun meandering. What's great about meandering is there's only a few rules for it. First rule is you don't really want to get into an actual pattern. You want the eye to always be looking around for what's new. You don't want to cross over any of the lines, and you don't want to run into any extra points when you're doing it. So what I mean by that is if I take this Ultimate Marking Pencil real quick just to give you a fun idea, we are just rolling around in this as you go, and again trying not to get into a pattern, no overlapping of lines, and no points. And I even just kind of drew myself my own little pattern. So we're just going to follow that one. All right, so here we go. Just like that. Super duper cute. We're going to roll up here and finish off our feather. This is just that back and forth motion, creating those nice arcs. And finishing it off. So up here, I'm going to actually bring this down at least to the point. I'll do a tie off. Just like that. So that's our fun little one. Now we're going to go overhead, and I want to show you how easy this is to iron away. So I've got my mat. I've got my sample piece, and I'm going to take that nice hot iron again. And this one I can just iron right over. And all of those markings disappear. So, so pretty. Oh, I love it. I love all the options that we get. And again, this is using that book, But Wait, Really Fancy Feathers. We just pulled a few different ideas from that, but there are so many, and this is available on our website, lindas.com. We just want to recap some of the tools that we looked at. I've got my machingers on, which helped move this around. I've got my Sew Slip mat that's on my machine. We used our Ultimate Marking Pencil to create some of that beautiful sketching. And then, of course, I had my 6-inch arch for those fun arches, and that Hobbs, if I can pull it apart, there we go, fusible 80/20 batting right there, which is so, so nice. Last but not least, of course, I did also have my hook and snip and the tweezer set that helps just get underneath that foot and pull up those threads. Thank you so much for joining me tonight here in the studio and taking a look at some of the fun tools that we used on our sewing machine to create these fun, beautiful feathers. I'll see you next time. Bye.